Hi everyone, welcome to Property Inside Straight Talk. Tonight we have two special guests, also the same surname, double Tan today. Okay, first off, of course, will be Charles Tan. Charles Tan is the founder for Coffee and Property. And secondly will be Nick Tan. Nick Tan is the COO for Sheffer. Sheffer is the only referral program that is available on Facebook. And of course, more other platforms to come. First off, I would like to welcome every one of you all. Welcome to the show, Charles and Nick.
Hi. Thanks, KK, for inviting.
You're welcome. Okay, as we all know, this pandemic, the COVID-19 pandemic, has been given us a very big impact in terms of economy implication. And IMF, in their report, even saying that we're gonna be heading towards global recession. So I need some thoughts from the gentlemen. How will our economic landscape change? Probably in 6 to 12 months kind of time frame.
Yeah, actually, we are not just predicted to be in a recession. I think the whole world is in a recession. For any country where the economic activity stops for 2 months, for example, is generally in a recession already. Yeah. So for Malaysia, I think all of us are aware that MCO has been around for quite some time, and with this, it meant that the forecast for GDP is already negative, right? So Bank Negara already said that the best scenario would be a 0.5. You know, just imagine that's the best scenario. So the worst scenario might be down by 2%. Yeah? Down by 2% means a recession already. It's a full recession, not just a technical recession. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So if you look at how it will pan out in the next 6 months, actually it doesn't depend on Malaysia alone, unfortunately. Yeah. Assuming we manage to get it under control by middle of May or end May, for example, we need to also look at all the other countries, especially the largest economy in the world, right? As well as the whole European Union, what is happening? Because if we are the only one recovering and everyone else is still in a recession, yeah, we are still not going anywhere. Because Malaysia, I think you also know, we are a trading nation. In fact, we are one of the largest trading nation, and for our size of population, we are a very big trading nation, right? Which means that if the world is not moving, we are not going to be able to export a lot of stuff. Yeah. So for the next 6 to 12 months, this definitely, like what the IMF or World Bank has predicted, this is going to be a recession.
Nick, what do you think about us heading towards recession, and maybe you can draw some reference point, similarity as differences from the previous recession?
Yeah, I agree with Charles from what he says and he shares. In fact, I think last week I saw a news portal that reporting that even Malaysia are going into lower GDP, like -4. That is like a bit too much. That going back to during end of 90s, 97, 98. In fact, during 2007, 2008, we don't have much impact, even though there's a lot of crisis, especially in the US side, talking about subprime mortgage, all these things affecting the whole world. But Malaysia still doing pretty okay during that time. In fact, after that 2007, 2008, I think Malaysia are doing well. Especially you can see the property, like it's a bull run. One of the lifetime bull run that we have ever seen. Like you buy property, you've got a key, then you've got 100% position, all these things. So I foresee that moving forward, 6 to 12 months, Malaysia will be in recession. That is definitely, and a lot of unemployment due to this MCO. And I think MCO is going to be extended, right? So if MCO is going to be extended, more people will suffer. SME is going to suffer, the employee is going to suffer, everyone is involved, nobody can escape. So what the government is doing now, I think they're trying to do their best to provide all this Prihatin package, all these things. So it depends on how well we can control the situation. If we can rebound back after 12 months or 18 months, well, like Charles says, it depends on the world economic situation. Because Malaysia is a very much export orientated. So without export, I think based on domestic consumption, we can't move so far, or we can't move anywhere. Okay. So, well, that is pretty much about what is going on moving forward 6 to 12 months down the road.
True. And the other thing will be, maybe we draw the focus back to property market. how will it directly impact our property market? Because, you know, from the domino effects of things, and definitely property industry will definitely be hit. And how bad will that be? Nick, would you want to elaborate?
Yeah. Okay. Our property market, as you know now, is standstill, come to a halt, right? So all the stakeholders from banks, developer, property agent, even the buyer and investor, all can't do anything at this moment because of MCO. Is it? So bank cannot process loan, no application being submitted, or if there is, it could be those pending one before the MCO. And developer side, construction being halted. The workers cannot go to the construction site and continue their works, construction work. And even this will actually jeopardize or so-called have effect on the completion period for certain projects. So probably like 3 years or 4 years, they need to extend. And the government says there's no extension of time with no valid reason or with no prior approval, all these things, since the end of last year. And well, agents, basically all of them are sitting at home. They can't go out to market the project for developers, to meet the investor or buyers or first-time home buyers. And for buyers-wise, they can't go out, the sales gallery, everything. What they can do is just see from the laptop, online, all right, to see what the agents are doing, webinar, all these things. And well, developers are trying their best to do online, pushing their effort into online by doing a lot of online booking, online promotion, and even to the extent that they are joining those so-called e-commerce site. Like there's one developer, I don't want to mention the name, he's recently joining Shopee. So it means that all these popular sites like Lazada, Shopee, or whatever you call it, not only you can purchase those household items, foods, or whatever, you can purchase property. But the question is, how many are willing to purchase that through this kind of platform, is it? Yeah. So Malaysia are not that sophisticated yet, but slowly are going into that area. But of course, I would say during this MCO, everything is halted for the property side. So everybody is look and see and waiting for the MCO to be uplifted.
Yeah, so if you look at the property market, right, the property market actually didn't slow down with COVID, right? Property market has been slowing down for many years. And in fact, if you look at last year, for example, the only one major spark or catalyst for property market last year was our home ownership campaign, right? So if there was no HOC last year, I'm very sure the transaction would have also dropped. The reason is not so much of no demand. If we look at just Klang Valley alone, right, just Greater KL alone, on a yearly basis, just migration, we have probably 200, 300,000 people migrating into KL, right? Those people who just graduated just from their university, from their college, they moved to KL to work. All these are 200 and 300,000. And all these are demand, right? And on a yearly basis, some more, right? And if we look at how the household has become, last time, when we were young, right? So like when all of us were younger, there were a lot of people staying in the same house, right? So like my father is number 5. In the whole house, there are like, more than 10 people, right? Those were the days. Then it became like my house with 5 people plus our grandparents, probably 7 people. Today is becoming 4. But if you look at how the trend moves, right? In the very near future, it's going to be 2, right? Or 3. Which means that the demand is increasing exponentially. But the issue is this: when there is uncertainty, many people pull back, many people hold, many people wait, right? So this is the most main key thing that needs to be solved. If the sentiment is still negative, property market will find it hard to recover. However, if the sentiment is positive, then the property market will recover very fast because the demand is there. It's just that people are still thinking, should I not? And if you look at the property market, for example, I think you guys know I'm a licensed auctioneer. So during MCO, I cannot even go and conduct my auction, which means that the property transaction cannot move, right? And this is not because there's no demand. It's just that because of circumstances, nothing can move, right? And if you are looking at how the government is trying to help, is that they are trying to reduce throwing a lifeline to SMEs, not to make them rich, but for the SME to have enough fund to just ride through the MCO. And then when recovery started, business started, then yeah, they will be able to recover the unemployment, which is predicted to be a few million, can be down to maybe a couple of 100,000 maybe, and this will help us recover much faster. Versus if SMEs bankrupt, people bankrupt, then it's going to be very long journey for us.
True. It will be very massive after that.
Yeah, very massive.
Charles, maybe what we can say, since you're touching on auction property, what is the opportunity that we can find in auction property during this period, during this crisis?
Actually, if you go to Google, right, you type auction listings Malaysia, for example, you'll be able to find a lot of the auctions which are happening in the very near future, right? And all these auctions will already have the information there, whereby you can take the information, you can then go and search the actual market price for this property and be very surprised, because sometimes if it's already the third auction or the fourth auction, the price can be 30% or even up to 40% below market, right? But then again, always understand that if the property is a very popular property, for example, and it's 40% below the market, when you go for the auction, rest assured there'll be a lot of people there as well, right?
I see.
So yeah, so what are the opportunities is that if you're able to find some properties which you can see the value, but not everyone can see the value, then perhaps that is something which is worth buying. Or if you are buying for your own stay, actually if it's for your own stay, auction market is a very, very good market, because the place that you like and the place that you can accept is different from everyone else, right? So for example, if my working time is 10 o'clock, I do not need to buy nearby Kuala Lumpur. I can buy further away. And usually these are the properties where first auction section, generally nobody wants, right? Probably you can wait until the fourth or the fifth auction, can get a very, very good value property in the auction market.
Hey, Charles, how can we know whether it's on the fourth or fifth auction? Will it show in the website?
Yes, it is shown in the website, but if I'm not mistaken, it is shown if you are a subscriber. So if you're not a subscriber, you can still call in to the auction agency to ask, actually.
I see.
And usually, how you can also know, even if you don't call them, don't subscribe, how you can actually know is you look at the price, and then you look at the transacted price. If it's very far away, say 30%, 40%, it's already the third or the fourth auction. Because the first auction usually is based on market value, the valuation value.
I see. But the other thing is, with this 6 months moratorium, will it actually prolong the good listing from the auction?
Definitely.
Yeah, so what will be the best time for us to go into auction after 6 months moratorium?
After 6 month moratorium is for new properties. For properties which are already in auction, those properties don't qualify for moratorium anyway. So what you need to wait is just after the MCO, when the auction restarted, the current properties, because they cannot be moratorium. Moratorium is only for people who are paying on time, right? Not these auction properties. These auction property people already cannot pay long time ago. Yeah.
Correct. Understand. Nick, the other question I want to pose to you is this tenant-landlord relationship. Of course, the government also giving out the tax rebates for those landlord that are giving out at least 30% of discount on the rental from April to June. So how and outside also there will be a lot of so-called opportunities. I'm not saying all, but there will be some opportunities that tells you, okay, hey, I also need some discounts and whatnot. So what will be the advice that you can give to our viewers tonight on how they can manage this, their tenant more effectively and efficiently?
Well, to me, it's very simple, you see, because now during this MCO or during this crisis or recession, you call it, everybody's suffer. Everybody is affected, regardless whether it's a landlord or tenant or developer. So what happened is that I just give you a personal experience of mine.
Yeah.
My tenant is actually asking me for discount. He didn't say waive, but thank goodness he didn't say waive. He said discount. Then it's very subjective discount. You see, discount by how much? 10%, 20, 30, 40, or even 50. So I probed further to my tenant. I said, what happened and what's the reason? Then she told me that she's now on unpaid leave. So unpaid leave until the MCO lifted. This is on her side of story. So I just asked further. I said, this property is under a company, so I need to answerable to my partners. I need some sort of documents or proof so that I can discuss with my partner and then come back to you with justified so-called discount that we feel that we should give you. So I asked her to provide those employer's letter saying that there's a such incident or scenario happened to her. So from there, I justified.
Did she manage to?
Yeah, she just managed to give me the letter.
Okay.
So if I want to go one step further, I can call the employer and say, do you have staff or not, all these things. If the employer verified, yes, she's a staff and there's such a scenario happening right now at the company, then of course I should give just to help her. But there's no so-called rules and regulations saying that we must give any discount or waive.
Yeah.
Right? So it's based on tenant and landlord. So for this instance, for my case, I feel that I want to help her because she has been a good paymaster for this almost 2 years. So if I don't give her, that may force her to leave for a cheaper place to rent. Unfortunately, after the MCO lifted, then I will lose this tenant. Then my unit may be vacant for a couple of months later. That would be a loss to me. So instead of I grant her maybe, I don't know, 20%, 30%, but if 30%, I can get a tax rebate. So if I don't want the hassle of claiming tax, all these things, I give her 20% just for the sake of helping her. So right now, I decided maybe I give her around 20 to 25% just to ease her burden, financial burden throughout these difficult times. So once the MCO lifted, then I will text her back, then I will tell her, oh, hey, this period is over, you are coming back in action into work, you will get your salary or whatever, then we need to get back your full rental payment. So as long as the MCO is not lifted, I will try to help my tenants to go through these difficult times.
Yeah, actually, to me, maybe I'm quite lucky so far. I have no tenant telling me to waive yet. But maybe one of the key reasons is because my tenants so far, I think half are doctors, right? And doctors means that the pay is very stable. And right now, I think
you only rent to doctors, no other people.
Sorry? No, I have no idea, right? So like my KK house was also to a doctor. Sandakan condo also to a doctor. I have no idea. Somehow doctors just like me, right? And, so far because the hospitals are paying their housing allowance, so it has always been on time. And I don't have such an issue. But actually, if you ask me, if I face such an issue, I would need to look at who the tenant is. Like what Nick says, right? If it's a good tenant to me all these years, right? I would definitely do my best for her or him, right? And 20-30% is definitely not an issue. Even 50% is not an issue, as long as it's a good tenant. But if it's a not so good tenant, I would use something like a moratorium, right? So I will cut the rental and I tell the person that you can pay back the rental later on. Right? So for example, if I cut 3,000 off 3 months, the next 6 months, every month you may pay me back extra 500 on top of rental. Yeah, so that would be if the tenant is not so awesome to me. But yeah, at the moment, no such cases yet.
Okay. So of course, the next question will be touching on a little bit on government policy lah. What do you think other initiatives should government undertake to stimulate our property industry?
Like Charles have touched earlier part of the questions, I think probably government should reconsider of continuing the HOC. Because at the number of overhang are still at large number in the market. I think in order to so-called to get interest in this overhang property, the government should reconsider of continuing the HOC so that when people goes back into action, into job, and they still have salary, they still have income, the demand is always there. So if the HOC is there, it will help a lot. The stamp duty could cost like 10,000 up to 20,000-30,000, depends on the value of the property. Yeah. So HOC, I think, is a very useful so-called initiative to be considered by the government. And apart from that, probably the government now they are going to reduce interest rate, bank loan rate. So I think low interest rate should be maintained, right? So that people still afford to pay for the installment, the mortgage, okay? And more initiatives should be given and should be considered to developers as well. For example, maybe a lower so-called authority fees and faster approval on certain documentation.
Yeah.
Yeah, basically HOC lah. What I'm thinking is HOC is a very significant thing.
All right, Charles, your side.
Yeah, I think I would agree that we can think about another HOC, but probably more targeted, right? Actually, one of the key things about HOC is that it is not so much targeted. It's for everyone, right? If you ask me, if we are really sincere in helping the first timer to own property, for example, the HOC should have been targeted at them. Yeah, for example, and in terms of what the government can do, actually, it's not just pushing people to buy. Actually, government can do things like rent to own, right, in a much bigger way, in a much more systematic way, rather than currently is sometimes got do, sometimes don't do. Probably that one can be something which the government can do a little bit more, right?
Understand.
But the most important thing so far actually is not so much just on the property market, is on the economy itself. Because when the economy is not doing well, you can do whatever stimulus, whatever measure. If I know that I'm about to be fired, I am not going to buy property, right? You can give me stamp duty, you can exemption, you can give me low interest. I am about to be fired. I am not going to buy your property, right? Yeah, and I think we all know that this year itself, seriously, I think majority of the companies, the bonus, the increment, I do not think will happen already, right? Because you can just understand that 2 months or 3 months without a good business, and then the remaining 3 to 6 months partial business, because that day I was discussing with a fellow property person. Actually, after MCO, it won't go back to normal yet, right? It's like, okay, assuming 1st of May, we MCO is over, right? How many of you are rushing to the cinema to watch movie? No, right? Yeah, you see, all of us will feel scared. Okay, we may go back to the mall, right? But it will be on a measured way, right? Probably last time is like every week we go. Maybe this time we will go every 2 weeks, right? Even let's say my friend was joking. He said, actually after this MCO, everyone will rush to the hairstylist, the barber.
It's true.
But the truth is both of you, if you imagine you arrive at the hairstylist, the whole shop is full of people. Do you go in or not? You think about it, right? So the MCO, even when it is over, another 3 to 6 months will be needed for normalization. Yeah, and this normalization cannot depend on Malaysia. It will depend on the world, right? It's like MCO is over in Malaysia, but every day you read about news in that country going up, that country going up. You are not going anywhere, I tell you, because you are still worried, unless everyone says, hey, my cases are down to 5, down to 10. Everywhere.
We found the vaccine.
Found the vaccine. Yeah. Then yes, you feel very confident already. I can go. Otherwise, no, right? Even for business, Dato, you sure meet a lot of entrepreneurs. Even for business, how many people tell you that, MCO, I'm going to expand my business? Not many, right? Yeah, now it's more of sustaining, and maybe later we think about expanding. But now it's all about sustaining everyone, right?
Now talking about survival.
Yes.
I think what you say is true, Charles. I think life would not be the same even after MCO lifted, you see. And COVID is actually transforming the whole world into a different lifestyle, different things, how we are competing things, you see.
Yeah, Nick,
so
talking about lifestyle, sorry to cut you, Nick. Talking about lifestyle, how will our business model change after this?
Correct. It will be a new norm. I would say, okay, work, live and play will be totally different from what we used to enjoy, what we used to do. You see, for example, now, probably after MCO lifted, if you go out, you will practice social distancing. Probably if you see the place a bit crowded, you will wear masks, regardless whether you're sick or not sick. Just like buying insurance, you just want to protect yourself, you see. And probably you will wash hand more regular. And indirectly, I would say there are more people OCD. Is it?
OCD,
So,
what's that?
Obsessive compulsive disorder.
They clean all the time.
Personally, I don't mind to tell you that I have OCD. Is it? So probably people are. I think every one of us has OCD. Just that whether your level is little,
high or low,
medium or high. Yeah, everyone has. Is it scared of something that may affect you internally or may actually disturb your mindset or your physically? Everyone will have. So after MCO, there will be more people will have this kind of mentality, OCD, obsessive compulsive disorder. Is it?
Okay.
So I believe everything will be different now. So the way how business will be operated, probably they need to change and fine tune a bit according to what the sentiment of the market can accept. So this is how I feel that the business won't be the same like it used to be. So everybody is affected, and then if the market sentiment will not it will come back straight away, recover like in 2008 or 2018 or 2019. No, it will take time. Yeah, it will take time. So once, like you say, the vaccine is there, then probably people will feel safer. Once I vaccine already, it's like I have the immune system already to counter these COVID things, then I don't scared. I don't mind. But beyond that, I mean, before that, everybody will take precautionary measurement, regardless whether you like it or not.
And of course, talking about change of business model, I think the way how developers adapt to a new marketing strategy also will change. Charles, what is your take on that? How will our property industry adapt to these changes?
Yeah, actually, it's not just property industry. Like if we look at the amount of people doing Facebook Live, right? Mm-hmm. You already can see that things are really, really changing. But if you look at business moving forward, to be frank, I still don't think that everyone would now stop renting offices, and work from home. I don't foresee that. What I foresee is, however, all organizations would now have a flexible working schedule, which means that if you feel you are a little sick, you can tell your boss you can work from home, right? Sure. And post MCO, what will happen is that all organizations would now have to change a lot of their hardware. The work from home, carry your desktop home is like crazy. Even your notebook, if it's a very old model, you will still have to change, which means that post MCO, all this will be happening. And you may see that some of the hardware seller, they will benefit, right? Because now I'm very sure no organization will want to be caught that I want to work from home, but I cannot work from home because my staff is not ready, my hardware is not ready, my server is not ready. All this would have to be done, right? So if you ask me, I don't foresee a huge change in terms of offices or whether the office will get smaller, but I foresee a lot of different flexibilities that will come up moving forward already.
Nick, because you are running this apps called Sheffer, the only referral program in Facebook. Yes. So how do you see developers adopting to new way of promoting and selling to a new group of customers or prospect that they have?
Well, yeah, it's true. Okay, all this while I've been promoting and also looking forward that technology is the forefront of any business.
Yes.
We are moving into year 2000 and beyond that now 2020. You see? Yeah. So technology imparts us one way or another. Last time we never think of any private car can become a taxi. That's where Grab come in, or Uber in other countries. And we never think of somebody can deliver the food to you, not from the F&B outlet, not from the restaurant, Food Panda, all right, or Grab Food. You see? So all this is a technology platform, right? So Schaefer basically is also a technology platform whereby we actually utilizing the biggest social media platform, which is Facebook, right? Because Facebook in Malaysia, there are over 20 million of users, okay, including all the corporate, individual, SME, whatever. They are the users. One of the primary users of Facebook in the whole world is Malaysia. Malaysia has one of the highest penetration rate in terms of Facebook account or Facebook user. So we are actually offering a property developer that this Facebook platform, Schaefer, we can actually help them to share out their projects, property projects, to all the Facebook user in Malaysia, to refer out, to share and refer out. That's where the name comes from, share and refer. That's why it's called Schaefer. Refer out. So who is this group of referrer? This group of referrer can be anybody, any layman on the street can refer. As long as they have a Facebook account, they just log into our Schaefer.me, our platform site, registered, get an ID, get a password at no cost FOC. Then from there, we will list down all the projects from the developer, then they can share out in the timeline. So basically, every one of us are sharing something in Facebook.
Every day, yeah. Like, share, comment.
Correct. So
especially now.
News, yes, we share news from major news media, we share from our friends, we share jokes, we share whatever, you see. So why not we share something that can benefit and reward you back? So how to get benefit and reward you back? If you share it out, your friends, family, or whoever in your timeline that saw this project very interesting, they click. Once they click, we have built a tracking engine behind the Facebook. Okay, then they will pull the data. They pull the data, then we will go and do the sales and do the conversion for developers. So ultimately, developer will benefit. So it means that not only they have their own database, now they can leverage on Schaefer to get as much as database, and ultimately this database converted to become their customers ultimately. So it's another avenue, marketing avenue for the developer to actually adapt and to be utilized on.
I see. Guaranteed payment.
Yes.
And what will be the referral fees like? How
okay,
much?
Referral fees, okay, just to give you a general guideline, referral fees can be like from few hundreds. It depends on the property value. If the property value is 300,000, like rumah, WIP, or so-called residency, like all these things. So it's not much because that is like incentives to the first-time home buyer that there is a government scheme to develop such a housing project. So that would not much, probably a few hundred. But if you're talking about those private development, ranging from 400, 500, up to 600 or up to 1 million, it could range from 1,000 up to maybe 15 or 20,000.
Wow, not bad. So it depends on the click of share.
Correct. So generally, I would say average is about maybe 1,000 to 3,000 in general.
Okay.
Yeah. And then we are trying to target on more mass market product. For example, those projects that are below 1 million, best still is below 600,000, so that everybody can benefit. Then it will become a sharing property platform, marketplace for everybody to look forward, especially on new project.
Okay, thanks for the sharing, Nick. Yeah. Okay, the other thing is, of course, the most important question I'm gonna ask you all. What is your property investment strategy at this crisis? In other words, what you're gonna buy, what you plan to buy, where you're gonna buy?
Actually, my in property investment strategy usually don't change much. In fact, even stock investment, even unit trust investment, actually that doesn't change much over the years. Whether it's a good economy, bad economy, right? To me, I always have the PDF concept when I buy a property. PDF means number one is price lah. Number two is developer. Number three is feature, right? So my first philosophy is never to buy based on feature, right? So for example, property with who tell me that they have the most number of facility in the world, for example, that is not my main priority. My main priority is always I look into that area, then I look at the price, and then I see if the price makes sense or not, right? So if the price makes sense, then I look at the developer, because many times when the price makes sense, that means it's below the market, for example, the developer can or cannot complete is a big issue, right? Or they complete it half-heartedly, right? They use all the bad material and things like that. So if the price meets, then I will look at the developer. And once these two meets, then only I look into the ceiling height the door the amenities all those kind of things comes in. But otherwise, I won't touch the property. So this doesn't change whether it's a up cycle, down cycle. So far it has always been the same.
Yeah.
But if you ask me, what can we do right now, because actually we can think of the share market also lah. It's not just the property, but do research in property, but at the same time don't ignore the potential that is opening up lah. Yeah.
Okay, if you ask me what is my investment strategy, well, I'm still doing pretty much the same like I used before. So I would prefer to buy property with lifestyle, right? So lifestyle means there are much more younger population in that area or in that project, right? So generally the price will not be higher than 500,000. I would like to buy mass market product. Mass market product means easy to sell, easy to rent. People afford to rent, afford to buy at the end of the day. And there is a transaction going on in that area. If there's no transaction going on in that area, it means that there's nobody are selling or buying, then your property don't have a value. There's no transacted value, so you can't sell pretty much, and the property won't appreciate.
True.
Yeah. So generally, I buy those people can afford. For example, if you're talking about renting from 1,000 to 2,000. So if you're talking about renting from 1,000 to 2,000 based on 5% benchmark, so we are talking about 300 to 500,000. Right? That kind of property. So that is the majority of even first-time home buyer are looking for it. And those people who can't afford to buy, they want to rent that kind of property also. Okay. So I prefer this type of property.
Okay.
So if you're talking about anything above 500 or above 600,000, that is a different segment already. That is not mass market product. That is like targeted market, for example, in Mont Kiara or in Bangsa or in those upscale market. That is different play already. But that is not my majority focus in that kind of segment. My majority focus is on those mass market.
Understand. Okay.
Yeah. So if you want to invest, I would strongly suggest first-time buyer to look into those below 500,000.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good
So that it won't burden their their income so much to pay for the installment, and yet they can stay or they can rent it out as an investment property.
Yeah, it's also easier to rent. Okay. The other thing is, of course, most of our viewers are property investors or property buyer. So probably you all can share some lights or some of the insights that you have on what kind of mistakes can we avoid? Can property buyers avoid at this time? And also, what should the strategy be for investors to adopt or to execute during this time?
Actually, there are quite a lot of potential pitfalls. First pitfall is when people say the property is cheap, right? It is very important for us to understand what do they mean by cheap. Because what they mean by cheap is that the property developer is giving 40% discount, for example. So they say it's cheap. That is not cheap, yeah? That is discount. So cheap and discount are very, very different, right? Very good example is, for example, the whole development, 1,000 unit, everybody gets a 40% discount. So you imagine what will happen when you get the key. You mean when you get the key, the property price will go up 40%? Or do you think the property price will be at the price that you buy, which is 40% discount? Think about it, right? So this is the pitfall. The pitfall is cheap and discount are two very different things. Cheap would mean that you have already done your due diligence. You know this property 100 per square feet, but the whole area is around 800 per square feet. Now that is called cheap, right? Or you go into a auction market, for example, you saw the property and you go and do a checking for the past few transactions. All are below, all are above this property that you are about to buy by a few 100,000. That is called cheap, right? That is called undervalued property, for example. The second pitfall is people buy things based on what other people say rather than what they need. Yeah. Very good example is when we talk about the price, for example, some people, they already got married, they already have one kid and a second baby coming, right? Actually, what they need is a bigger home. They don't need a home close to the office, for example, right? But because the baby hasn't arrived, and so far they don't feel the need, therefore therefore he may buy the price that he could afford, but nearer to the city, which means that it will be a smaller size, right? So many times we make decisions without a long-term kind of understanding about what may happen. This is one mistake. And of course, the other side, right? I have friends who bought in Cyberjaya, right? He bought a place in Cyberjaya. He is renting a place in Kuala Lumpur. Cyberjaya completed, right? So he get the key. He could not rent it out. Then I say, hey, but your KL place you are renting, right? He said, yeah, KL place I'm renting. So I say, why not you move to Cyberjaya? Because Cyberjaya is your home. So don't rent here. He said, it's too far.
Oh, too far.
So you see, all these are some of the things that we did not think before we buy, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So if he had bought in Cyberjaya, but he's ready to move, right? That means if no one is renting his place, he can actually go and stay. Why is he paying rental here and paying mortgage there, and he is losing in both places, right? So all these are decisions, or if you want a very good word, is due diligence, right? That we don't do. And all these are the pitfalls that may happen. And just like buying a stock, right? Everyone would tell you about the stock they love, right? And everyone will tell you about the popular area they love. Everybody, right? But actually that popular area that they like, is it matching to your need or not? That is a different thing altogether, right? It may match to what your friend wants, may not meet what you want. If your kid is going to go to primary school very soon, you do not need a place where there are no nearby schools. You need a place where there is a nearby school which you can send your kids to, right? So that is very important, because people buy what people think, and people buy what everyone says they should buy. Again, this is a pitfall which so many investors keep doing.
Okay, I agree with what Charles have elaborated. Right. Basically, to sum up what Charles want to say is that don't buy based on rumors. Okay? Don't buy based on speculation. Okay? Buy based on your due diligence, your own analysis, your own needs, and what you want. Right. So basically, if for investment, buy the property. Make sure that either you can rent it out, and rent it out also got few exit rental factor. You can rent it out for workers, you can rent it out for students, or you can rent it out as a short-term rental, Airbnb. You know what I mean? So if you base on one kind of rental strategy, for example, I want long-term money. So happen that your area don't have a long-term tenant, then you will end up keep up your unit vacant for 6 months or 1 year until you cannot tahan, until you cannot bear really anymore. Then you either sell it at a lower price or you rent it at a much cheaper price than you expected, right? And then that is one thing about rental. Number two, if you want to buy for your own stay, honestly, anywhere is a good place. Anywhere is a good place, you see. Like Charles says that if I have a kid, which I know down the road, another 1 year or 2 years going to primary school, if I stay in a mixed development, already, every day he will go to the game arcade or go shopping or go coffee shop there. He won't come back to the unit upstairs. So it depends. There's no fixed rule saying that this is good, you must buy. If you don't buy, sure you'll miss the boat. No such thing. So based on your needs, as whether it's an investor or as a home buyer. Like I say, a home buyer anywhere is a good place as long as within your budget you have done a due diligence, because you are not going to sell after 3 or 5 years. You are going to stay there for long term. So long-term wise, property always gain. Average property gain per year is about 6 to 6.5% for long-term. Even from 2000 until 2019 is about 6 to 6.5% property price index. So eventually the price you are going to buy if for own stay, probably like 15-20 kilometers out of the KLCC or out of the KLCC center, eventually it will still appreciate. But investment is totally different. For rental, for whether you need to go and survey the area, even go at night. You have to drive all this there at night. You see your next door surrounding, which has completed already. How many people are staying there? If there's no lights, it means no people are staying there. So if no people are staying there, what's wrong with it? It's either developers are still holding a lot of units or nobody want to rent that. So if you're buying there and then hoping that a lot of people will rent your unit, then you're wrong already. So as an investor, you need to put a lot of effort. It's not just based on who says who can buy that.
True.
Based on efforts, and make sure, even though you want to hear or follow those people who say it, make sure it's the right people. Don't simply follow, right? So don't buy on rumors. Do your own due diligence, study, analysis, and then make sure that you have field exit strategy of the property, whether you are for own stay or for investment.
Understand.
Yeah,
So,
that's my take.
good one. Okay. Thank you very much, gentlemen, for your sharing. I'm sure our audience and viewers tonight, they have benefited quite a lot. And of course, I think to encapsulate what are the main points that you all been referring. Basically, price is what we pay for, and value is what we actually get. Yes. So the main thing here is before you embark on any big ticket item decision, please do your due diligence and come up with your own checklist if possible, as many as you can. And with that checklist, if most of the property that you are eyeing on comply to the checklist, then probably it will be a safer bet. Thank you very much again for all your time. Really appreciate it. All the best. Stay safe. Stay at home.
Yeah, thanks.
All right. Bye-bye.
Nice. Bye-bye.